What's up, folks? Welcome to welcome to this isn't the last one, my bad. I'm still thinking we got the other ones. Yeah, welcome to the NFC West preview for this season. So, as it goes, we're going to be covering the 49ers, the Rams, the Seahawks, and the Cardinals. As always, I got Flash with me.
What is up, y'all?
Sitting there in
Y'all know I'm excited to talk about this division.
Sitting in the shadows like he's Batman, but this is his division.
Let me come in the light a little bit more. Ain't that much better.
Like sitting in the shadows like that. It's kind of like you could swoop down at any moment. Okay, we don't need all that. we don't need all that. Okay, all right, let's go ahead and jump into this. All right, so we're going to start off with the 13-4 division winners from last season, San Francisco 49ers. Also, too, they lost the NFC Championship, got beat up by the Philadelphia Eagles. They added Steve Wilkes. They added Austin Bryant. They added John Feliciano, Cleveland Farrell, and they also added Sam Darnold as their backup, as one of their other backups, along with Trey Lance.
And
their key departures? What's up?
And they got Trey Lance and Brock Purdy.
Yeah.
So what did Coach Shanahan said? Is Brock Purdy's job to lose, or is that what I heard? Something like that to Trey Lance?
I mean, I didn't hear that, but
I heard something like that on Twitter.
So. It makes sense. I mean, it's Brock Purdy's to lose. I mean, if he comes back and when he's healthy and he's not playing to the standard, then why not put Trey Lance in there?
If he's not up to standard, but as of right now, I mean, in the Shanahan system, with how Trey Lance looked last year, maybe it's a bit better. Maybe a game manager like Purdy might be better. That's my 2 cents right there off the bat.
Their two pieces were Jimmy G, who's now QB1 in Las Vegas, and also D'Amico Ryans, who's now the head coach for the Houston Texans. They drafted Jair Brown, Cameron Latu, and Jake Moody. So things are still looking up in San Francisco. Kyle Shanahan's a choke artist, honestly. He's choked 2 Super Bowls away, and he can't seem to get past the big stage. But who knows? Maybe this is the year.
Whoa. This is the year. Let's slow down now.
I said maybe. Hold on. No, don't even do that. I said maybe.
I said it may be, but I think they're a bit further away this year than they were last year. Let's put it that way.
No, I will agree with that too.
They walked back in some steps this year. Plain and simple.
They did.
It may be the 49ers division to lose this year, but it's a high chance they may not win this division. There's a chance, a really good chance.
Feel that. Now, let's go ahead and start off with it. What can we expect from Brock Purdy in year 2?
I'm not expecting anything from Brock Purdy. Right now, I expect him to beat out for the starting job of Trey Lance, but if the organization feels like there's still potential in Trey Lance, let's go with him. I mean, I can't throw expectations for Brock Purdy at this point, But hypothetically, if he wants to start, just be the game manager. He did a good job at that. That's all you got to do. Just do the same thing he did last year. Have the coach.
I just want to see how you avoid the sophomore slump. It's just like, okay, you bursted onto the scene and stuff because you had coaches in the system that they ran formations in certain plays to protect you and to not expose you. Now it's like, okay, take the training wheels off. Let's see what he can do. Defenses they got a full season's worth of film on you. Defenses are going to come at you with different looks now. How are you going to adapt your game to ensure that you stay playing the way you're playing? So we're going to see just how good Brock Purdy is. I mean, he's already good, but we're going to see if he can really adapt his game now.
I mean, we shall see. I mean, it's also Kyle Shanahan we're talking about. I mean, he also has running backs. He has 2 great running backs and receivers. system players that fit in Kyle Shanahan's scheme. I think Purdy fits Shanahan's scheme much better than Trey Lance. You know,
between Deebo Samuel and probably one of the best route runners, probably the best route runner in the NFC, Brandon Ayuk.
McCaffrey's still there, right?
Yeah, McCaffrey's still there.
Exactly. Yeah, Deebo and McCaffrey. I mean, that's a Tatum alone. You got to worry about tandem.
Yeah, you're good. But yeah, I mean, honestly, I like that offense still. It's
a very favorable offense. Defenses are going to have to do a lot to stop them. Let's keep it that way.
That's why they brought in Steve Wilkes too on their defensive side as well.
I mean, their defense has also been very good. They've been the most consistent team in the NFC West. Unfortunately, I hate to say it. They've been the most consistent
since 2019. Yeah, that's accurate. And honestly, ever since John Lynch came in and took over, that's pretty accurate. So
unfortunately for me, speaking as a Seahawks fan, yes.
Oh, it's okay because we gonna get to them next after this last question right here. Now, what will they do with Trey Lance?
Well, let me say this. All depends how he does in training camp. He just gotta wait for his moment. If you ask my opinion, he has to wait for his turn. He blew it away with his shenanigans last year. He's got to earn it back.
Honestly, to be real with you, I feel like he's gonna like put out the best film possible, and then I feel like at some point or another, they may try to trade him. They're gonna try to.
They might trade him as is. There'll be a team desperate for a QB. They might trade him as is.
Yeah. Will they find a suitor? I don't know, but I feel like they do.
There are teams that are desperate for a QB out there. A younger QB. They'll take some gambles.
And he could fit in some offenses. But there might be more to it that we don't know about. There might be more writing on the wall. So
that's the fun thing about professional sports. You do not know about everything until someone comes out of the gutter with something or some major news comes out. You do not know. Especially in the day and age with social media and stuff. As we've been seeing, totally off topic from the NFL, but as we've been seeing with Zion Williamson and stuff, if something comes out, it's going to come out.
All right. So their schedule consists of, I think they probably going to lose the first game at Pittsburgh.
Hold on. Well, let's slow down now. Let's slow down about that one. Yeah, maybe they would lose to Pittsburgh, but as of right now, I don't see it.
Okay, you know what? Yeah, I take that back. Well, I was only saying that because it's in Pittsburgh, but you know what? They're going to probably beat Pittsburgh week 1.
Unless I see something out of Pittsburgh, that's a Niners game to lose.
Oddly enough, the thing about it is I could actually see them getting through the first 6 games of the season and being 6-0.
I have zero idea what their schedule looks like, but let's take a look at it. Week 1, Steelers. Week 2, Rams. Week 3, Giants. Week 4, Cardinals. Week 5, Cowboys. Week 6, Browns. I expect 5-1, but they could very well beat the Cowboys.
I'm honestly
well.
I'm expecting 6-0 going into Monday Night Football against the Vikings. It's primetime Kirk Cousins, so might be 7-0.
Yep. I'm sticking to my prediction of 5-1. I think that they're going to drop. They're going to drop to one of these games. It could be very well the Giants. It's unlikely the Giants, but I think the Cowboys might be the one they'll be dropping to.
I'm gonna go 7-1 going into the bye week, dude. I'm gonna be real.
They could very well do that. They are very capable of doing that.
I'm gonna say 7-1 going into the bye week with a loss to
Cincinnati.
Yeah, with a loss to Cincinnati, and then they come out of the bye week and they go 3-0 coming out the bye week.
Well, let's slow down now. Let's slow down. The Jags ain't some pushover team. They've been.
You know what? I like that. I'm gonna be real.
The Jags aren't some pushover team anymore. They looked a lot better.
I like that. You know what? I'll say this. What I say, 7-1. I'm gonna go 7-2 out of the bye week. They'll beat the Bucks. They're gonna beat Seattle. They're gonna lose
Well,
at
hold on.
Philadelphia.
Is that that game is at Seattle. Seattle might take that one. Well, actually, what the Seahawks and 49ers games are very interesting. They can be very difficult to predict.
Okay.
I'm not doubting him, but a game in Seattle, you know very well as I do, that is a tough scene to play in.
Is it really still? Is it really still?
It is still a very tough. It's still one of the more difficult places to play in the NFL. You know that. It's still.
I know that. I know. Trust me, I know. It's just a matter of is it still. Do the fans know that still?
Which fans? The Seahawks fans or
do y'all still believe in yourselves?
I very well expect Seattle to be the number two team in the NFC West. They're going to be right behind the 49ers skin. If anything, they could potentially be number one. And it looks like they have made the correct moves this offseason so far. They have made some good moves.
It could be number one. Y'all heard that?
They could be. They could be. I ain't saying they will be.
So look at him with his chest out. Look at him.
They could very well be the number one team in the West.
Look at Flash with his chest out talking big about Seattle.
But we're talking about the 49ers, so I'm just saying.
We know to Seattle now. We're going to switch to Seattle now. That's the you can really stick your chest out.
Well, I'll say this because within that span of weeks, so November 23rd is Seattle at Seattle, and November 10th is in San Francisco. So they're very close together. So, I'm just saying I don't think a season sweep is going to be happening this season. It's not going to be a sweep. It's not this year. Unless that run defense still sucks, I don't think it's going to be a sweep. Now we're talking about Seattle. Let's talk about the number one issue Seattle had last season.
Oh, wait,
run defense.
Hold on.
Wait.
You got to build up to it.
Okay.
Yeah, Seattle, they went 9-8 last year. And then, of course, they added Draymond Jones. They added Jaron Reed. They brought back Bobby Wagner. They lost Ryan Neal. They lost Quentin Jefferson. They drafted Devon Witherspoon. They also got, and I know Ace is very upset about this, they got Jackson Smith and Jigba, and they got Derek Hall out of Auburn. I like what they did in the draft, to be honest with you. I really do. So, yeah, go ahead and talk about it.
Receivers, Seattle's they're loaded in receivers. The O-line, it's looking pretty good as well. Versus past Seattle teams when they had Russell Wilson eating up that contract, it looks very well. My question is Geno Smith going to keep it up? That is the biggest question. Do you believe Geno Smith can keep it up? Are we going to treat this like a sophomore year of a rookie, of a new player, or you think he's going to keep going?
I'm glad you asked that. Do you believe Geno is a long-term answer? Honestly, I realistically think Geno can still be the long-term answer. Because I really don't see Pete Carroll really much going with somebody else. I don't know if Pete Carroll really wants to mold somebody. I feel like at this point, Seattle's a place where it's like if they move on from Geno, they better bring in someone younger that's a free agent.
I'll say this. I will say this. It also depends how teams scheme for Geno Smith as well. But as we know, this Seattle team might be a lot more bolstered up as well. They seem to have a much better roster this year versus last year.
They've bulking up that front seven again, which also brings me to this. Is re-signing Wagner a step towards rebuilding the front seven? It is.
It is. Wagner is the core of that defense.
Yeah.
Plain and simple.
I also will say, too, in the term briefly on the
I believe Seattle signed a linebacker that's I forgot his name, but they did sign a linebacker, and I remember saying this at the time being when they did sign him. I was like, you know what, that's a guy that could use to clog up holes to avoid running backs running away. I was like, all right, that could be that guy. So that's why I said I think the Seattle team is going to be very more competitive.
It will be, because now you have three consistent wide receivers as well. Because now you got DK, you got Tyler Lockett, who knows how to protect his body when he runs routes and gets yards after the catch. And you now have Jackson Smith and Jigba. All of them they bring some type of special compliment to the table.
And keep in mind, some of the Seattle players' second-string receivers are no slouch either. Their second-string receivers are legit.
Of course.
They may not be starting on other teams in the NFL because the Seattle system is pretty good because of development and stuff. But in Seattle,
I will say I do compliment their approach to things and how they structure things, because you look at how they're taught defensively. They're very textbook in their approach of how to tackle, how to pursue as a defense, which is why you look at the 2013 team, Legion of Boom, like that's predicated on fundamental football. Like that's how you're supposed to pursue. That's how you're supposed to tackle. They have different techniques of how to tackle and everything. It's complementary. And that's how you tackle without getting a targeting call. That's how you tackle without, serious injury.
It's also why Seattle's defense has just been consistent. They may not be 49ers defense consistent, but it's still a very consistent defense when we look at it from a league-wide perspective.
It is.
People might make fun of them for here and there for dropping a few games because of their defense, but they still overall, for what circumstances they have, especially when you got people eating up their salary cap and stuff, for what they have, pretty good. You have to give it to them.
Yeah.
So I think right now my question is Geno Smith, can he do as well as he did last year?
Yes, he can.
He can.
I think
it's in his mind, but I think he can. I think Pete Carroll has. I think as long like he plays like as he did last year, and not make mistakes. Which honestly, he's been dropping dimes.
Look, 30 touchdowns, 11 interceptions. That's favorable.
That's very favorable.
That's very favorable. I think that he can definitely. I think that interception percentage will actually drop, because they got Zach Charbonnet too, if I'm not mistaken, as well, at running back.
Yeah. So
and then they lost Rashad Penny, but Zach Charbonnet is going to pick up the slack right away. So they realize what they need to do and everything like that. So I'm excited for them.
And they also drafted a running back as well that people are very high on as well, I believe.
Zach Charbonnet.
Oh, I didn't see his name down there.
Yeah. They went
out
out of UCLA. So they went out and basically got another California running back that somewhat was at least kind of similar to Marshawn Lynch. Well, there won't be another Marshawn Lynch, but he's elusive and he's big.
Let me ask you this: Do the Seattle Seahawks should have considered getting Dalvin Cook? Should have considered it for the right price?
Honestly, I think everybody's going to consider it for the right price. Honestly, the fact that he got released the way he did, it kind of helps create leverage, because now it's like you could bring Dalvin Cook in for a 1-year prove-it deal. Anybody could, and hopefully it works out. But I think at this point for Dalvin Cook, it's like stay ready so you don't have to get ready. Somebody's going to probably give him a call, because I can probably guarantee somebody's going to get injured, unfortunately.
Somebody's running back's going to get hurt.
Yeah, because we're going into training camp and stuff. Somebody's going to go down with an injury. I feel like Dalvin Cook's going to end up in Miami or Tampa. I feel like he's going to stay in Florida at this point.
I feel like he would. But I'll say this, though. Seattle can offer him touches. Seattle can offer him touches, and they can offer him touches that matter for a winning team. A lot of touches.
The only thing that's going with Seattle right now is Seattle has a stable of running backs, and they just drafted a young back. So it's like, what do you say to everybody else if you bring in Dalvin Cook?
Well, I mean, they may have a stable of running backs, but those running backs aren't Dalvin Cook tier running backs.
But it's also like you're trying to complement the future. You are, but again, in that case, it's like if you don't see if Pete Carroll in that offensive staff really feels like there's no progress, then that's when you go give Dalvin Cook a call for a league minimum 1 year prove-it deal.
I mean, listen. I just feel like they should be at least talking to him, like, because you have to make Seattle a very more favorable destination versus Florida, where he loves Florida, for crying out loud.
Well, it's no state income tax down here.
Exactly, and also it's his home. His home, very familiar faces and stuff. You have, if I was Seattle, I would be making those calls right now, and just feel out his situation, and try to make why Seattle should be the destination for Dalvin Cook. Should, if they want Dalvin Cook.
Possibly.
And I already stated the obvious football reasons why he should consider Seattle.
And that, folks, is going to take us now to the Los Angeles Rams. This is probably one of the worst teams as far as, defending a Super Bowl title. They went 5-12 after a stellar Super Bowl season. They added Demarcus Robinson. They added Tyler Johnson. And they brought in Xavier Smith from FAMU as a undrafted free agent. The departures: Jalen Ramsey, Bobby Wagner, Leonard Floyd. They drafted Steve Avila, Byron Young, Kobe Turner, and Stetson Bennett. So Georgia backing up Georgia in the QB room. It's interesting.
It's a bit interesting. I have no idea what if this is the last season we may see Aaron Donald, Sean McVay. It could very well be, but as of right now, that roster is not very favorable.
It's really not. I thought Aaron Donald was going to stay retired. I think this year might be the farewell tour. I think Sean McVay is he's considered walking away. I know people are shocked to hear that, but it's like, dude, you've won. You've been around the game since you were damn near 13 years old, or at least since you looked like a 13-year-old. So
he's been around football like forever.
He has. Back in 2005, he was working as an understudy to him and Shanahan. Both were working as understudies for John Gruden in Tampa. So it's like, I think Sean McVay might get out as young as he is. It wouldn't surprise me.
It might take a break. I feel like for a guy like him, he probably would want to consider taking a break. Judging this, listen, I know football may not be as big of a deal as their basketball team, but LA is a tough market.
Well, I mean, it's not even that really. It's just the fact that I can understand when you're burnt out, you're burnt out. And plus, he's already won his championship. He owes them nothing.
He owes them nothing.
Yeah, what else does he?
If anything, the team owes him a proper roster, and they have not done that.
The lone bright spots on this team were literally, oh my gosh, Kobe Durant from South Carolina State. I think he's like going to have to be the unequivocal leader of that secondary now. And then Cooper Kupp, of course, on the offense, which I will say, honestly, now that you think about it, the Rams are built off FCS players. I actually have to compliment that. And they're doing the best that they can with what they have. It's just
the situation they have, yes.
Yeah, exactly. I think, honestly, if Sean McVay had kept the pedal to the metal still, I feel like this could have been still a juggernaut. But I think they also
is it Sean McVay putting the pedal to the metal, or is the front office putting the pedal to the metal?
Both. Honestly, but I will say too, I think because you factor in, I mean, look, if you've already considered retirement, as Bill Parcells once used to say, you've already retired. So in my mind, Sean McVay's considered retirement. He's already retired. I don't even know why he's still out there, to be honest with you. Aaron Donald as well. Because you saw what happened with Tom Brady last year. He retired. He considered it. Came back. Was not himself. Give or take, Byron Leftwich ain't worth the shit either. But
I mean, I'll say this, he considered retirement, but I don't think it affected Tom Brady's game. If anything, it's more about the Buccaneers. It's not performing to Tom Brady, but that's another debate for another day.
It affected his game, but well, yeah, like you said, that's a discussion for another day. But yeah, I do think that this might be the last season for Sean McVay and Aaron Donald, honestly. And good luck to whoever has to go in there and clean up this mess after what we see this season. Is Matthew Stafford the long-term answer?
Negative. He's not.
Why
He
do you-
didn't. He did not look like the long-term answer last season.
Yeah, 10 touchdowns, 8 interceptions.
Does that seem like a long-term answer to you?
No.
No. Exactly. He did not. He did not look like that long-term answer the Rams needed. He got him that Super Bowl, and then he just hasn't looked the same.
That's true.
So, I mean, who knows? Maybe Stafford is mentally checked out. Who knows? But as of right now,
he got paid.
He got paid. He got paid, but he didn't look like the guy that wants to earn more money last season.
Let's see. I'm wondering how much of that is fully guaranteed. Because if most of it is fully guaranteed, I can understand why he's basically not really giving it his all. Because like he's already got that money coming to him, basically.
Exactly.
So it's like you don't really need to do much. Plus, you won a Super Bowl too.
I mean, who else they have in that quarterback stable they have in case Matt Stafford isn't really performing or if he gets hurt again?
That's why they got a Georgia Bulldog to back up the Georgia Bulldog.
Well, I mean, here's the thing. Stetson Bennett is not as good as Matt Stafford. Not in the NFL. He's not going to be nearly as good. I hate to say, at best case scenario, Stetson Bennett is going to be the check down dude.
Honestly, look, I'm going to be real with you. Here's what it is. If you played in the College Football National Championship this past season, you ended up in one of two places, nine times out of 10 likely. You ended up in either with the Rams or with the Chargers. It's very true. Because look, like there's some dudes from TCU that ended up in Chargers camp. There's some dudes that ended up in the Rams camp, and it's pretty obvious. Unless you played defense and you were on that championship team for Georgia, then you ended up in Philadelphia. But that's besides the fact.
Crazy enough, yeah. I mean, listen, there's not a whole lot I could say right now about this. Right now, I think the Rams might be on the beginning of a rebuild. If you want, they might be on that beginning part, but who knows? They could potentially be that surprise team too. But the way Matt Stafford looked, he did not look that good.
They put a lot of effort into trying to copy the Bucs recipe of trying to bring back everybody and trying to win another Super Bowl, and it definitely backfired.
It backfired worse than the Bucs.
Yeah, way worse. Like this, they are the worst defending Super Bowl champion
ever.
The worst. Before, like one of the worst records was like 7-9. This is way worse.
For a longer season too, yeah. You're getting 5 wins in a longer season. That's the worst. That 7-9 is 10 times better than this 5-12.
Exactly, of course.
I'll go to say this as well. Matt Stafford looked so bad in LA. He made Baker Mayfield look like a god there, for crying out loud. Let's be honest. Baker Mayfield, when he was there playing, he at least gave that team some hope until he got hurt.
Yeah,
I think something like that. I mean, we all forgot about that. We all thought Baker Mayfield was done, and then he showed up in LA, and he looked pretty good until he got hurt, right? Or it was just not enough opportunity. I can't remember. It's one or the other.
Sean McVay making a way out of no way.
Listen, you know what? I'll say this. It's going to be off topic, but Buccaneers fans, you better pray you get that Baker Mayfield that you kind of saw in LA, at least in that one game that I saw, because he looked pretty good. He looked pretty good for an LA team that was very undermatched.
Fair.
I mean, I don't know what you think about that. I mean, I actually do want to hear what you think about Baker Mayfield, judging from what I told you about his time in the Rams.
I mean, honestly, I've always felt he was a gunslinger, which is why he's in Tampa. But honestly, look, we'll see. To me, honestly, it's like I don't pay attention to videos and stuff like that of training camp and everything.
Mistakes are going to happen in training camp.
Look, honestly, I don't care about a video where you see a guy overthrowing someone and stuff like that. It's like, oh my gosh, this guy's falling. And then it's like I don't really care about, okay, he hit him deep for a touchdown, so like that doesn't impress me or wow me. It matters a little bit more what you do in preseason. It really matters to me what you do week 1. So we'll see.
I mean, deep down, I'm kind of rooting for him because I think that Baker Mayfield was unfortunately being mistreated in Cleveland. I especially with shoulder injury and stuff and what happened, and then with Carolina, it just didn't make the situation look any better. So, but I mean, his time with the Rams, it looked a little promising. That's all I'm saying.
It did. So yeah, we'll see. And with that, we're gonna slide on over to the Arizona Cardinals. Last team on this list in this division. Last year they went 4-13. They added Jonathan Gannon. I wonder if he's Rich Gannon's son. They also added Carlos Watkins. The departures were who's list, basically. They got rid of some people in the front office. Steve Keim is one of them. They fired Cliff Kingsbury. DeAndre Hopkins is gone. He still hasn't found a home yet as we record this. J.J. Watt, retired. Robbie Anderson, he's gone. Remember we said earlier, he's off somewhere in the AFC. He's off in Miami now.
In Miami.
Yeah. So, but in the draft, they added Paris Johnson Jr., they added B.J. Ojulari, and Garrett Williams. Dude. I'm just going to go ahead and say it.
I'm going to say this already. The NFC West is in a down year this year. It's a top-heavy conference with the Seahawks and the Niners, and the Rams and the Cardinals are going to be tanking it out.
Pretty much.
It's the brutal truth. The Cardinals ain't the team that they were a few years back. The Rams aren't the team they were a few years back. It's a top-heavy conference, unfortunately. I hate to say it.
You're going to be very interested just to hear my my predicted order of finish for this division.
If you have Seattle at 3, we need to talk.
Oh.
I'm playing.
Like I said, I might. Just stick around to the end of the video. Never know. I may have Seattle in last.
Okay, let's go.
I might say Seattle might win the Super Bowl.
I need to see more from them before I can make that assumption.
I might also say Seattle might tank for Caleb. I got him thinking now. That's what I did.
The house got to put some sort of money on that for that to happen.
You see what I did, America? I got him sitting there thinking now. That's what I did.
Boy.
Honestly, I'm looking at this like, how did the Cardinals salvage what's already looked like a lost season?
Transactions. You just that's what you got to do. You're gonna have to make some transactions during the season and stock up. That's what you do.
It's kind of crazy because when you look at it from the Cardinals' perspective, like, I don't know if you saw in-season Hard Knocks like I did. It's on HBO Max. Like,
not,
it's just like when I looked at it and stuff, like, you could tell DeAndre Hopkins, like, his confidence was not like what it was previously in Houston. Like, you had his coaches, they're trying to gas him up and tell him, like, you're one of the top 5 guys in the league, right? He was like, I guess so. And it's like, they're talking about it in the coaches meetings and stuff, and they're like, he doesn't really think he's like one of the top guys in the league. His confidence was like downhill. And I think it was a sign that he needed to get out of there. J.J. Watt was not himself.
A lot of guys weren't themselves when they got to Arizona. The only guy that looked like he did better was probably A.J. Green.
Yeah, exactly. Dude, it's just, to me, it's like, it seems like a lost cause right now. It's like,
let me add to this damage. Cardinals are arguably the worst run team in the NFL, apparently, in terms of facilities and that stuff and surfaces. And
it is, dude. I'm telling you, if you haven't seen in-season Hard Knocks, if you look at that, like, you're very disappointed with what the Cardinals have to work with. You'd expect
it makes you wonder how the heck they were like somewhat decent to make that NFC West tough. Kyler Murray's not saving him this year.
No, and
it's
honestly,
not happening.
It's gonna be rough.
He might get hurt again this season. If anything, they should just sit him out. That's how bad this season is going to look for him. But hey, he got paid.
And he got paid. That actually is Next thing right here is patience wearing thin with Kyler.
More like patience wearing thin with the Cardinals with Kyler. It might be the other way because he keeps getting hurt.
That's true.
Remember when someone said that Kyler Murray was LeBron James if he was 5'9" or something like that? He was like the most talented athlete ever or something like that.
Yeah.
Some statements like that makes the players get cursed somehow,
It's kind
some
of
way.
crazy. It's kind of crazy when you look at it, like with Kyler Murray. It's like it's one of those situations where it's like damned if you do, damned if you don't. Because it's like he could have took all of that money and gone to play Major League Baseball with the Athletics, but it's like, damn, the Athletics suck.
Athletics are doo doo.
And it's like he was in like what the number one pick by the Cardinals, and it's like the Cardinals still suck. So it's like,
well, I'll say this: the Cardinals suck because of ownership. That's why they suck.
That's why Steve Keim is gone, and a couple other front office people. So
much needed. I'll say that much. But listen,
hopefully it gets better.
I'll say this: Kyler Murray wasn't even being protected very well for a guy that's 5'9", and you're worried about if he's fragile and he's getting hurt and stuff. And yeah, you still didn't give him a proper O-line, and then you decide to pay him this recklessly. So, I guess in a way you should feel sorry for Kyler Murray in terms of NFL career, but in terms of finances, probably not.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
It's nuts, man.
So with that,
I mean, there's not a whole lot to talk about. I mean, they don't even have Buda Baker anymore for that defense.
Yeah, I was gonna say they lost Buda Baker. And he was one of the main people that was like a driving force in the locker room when you watched that in-season Hard Knocks. Like he was a driving force, trying to say, like this, like you guys need to put more effort in. He was one of the main voices in that locker room, and now he's gone, and it's like it's bad. It's bad.
I mean, if anything, they may be tanking for for Caleb, right? Yeah, Caleb.
I don't know.
I don't know who they're tanking for, but they're tanking.
Drake May maybe, or some other key piece, something they do. They got a lot of problems.
At this point, you stack up on picks.
Yeah. So now let me ask you this. Let me hear your predicted order of finish for this division.
I want to hear yours first, though. You had me a little invested. I'll make mine. Mine is not going to be. Okay, I'll say mine. Mine probably won't be as exciting as yours.
Well, I'm gonna say this right now. I think that the Seattle Seahawks are gonna go and win Super Bowl 58. I'm saying that just to mess with him. I knew he was gonna make that face. No, so
I wish, but I do not think they're Super Bowl level.
You tripping, man? The Seahawks, they're gonna be dominant this year. It's gonna be the Legion of Boom 2.0.
Let's not say that yet until we see it.
Zach Charbonnet is going to look like Marshawn Beast Mode Lynch. I'm telling you.
That one's closer than the latter.
And dude, they got this three-headed monster wide receiver. They're gonna give Geno a 5-year contract, all of that. Everything. They're gonna give him a helicopter too. I'm telling you. They're gonna
a helicopter for him. What was he gonna? He's gonna get a helicopter and he's gonna land midfield, and that's his entry to the stadium. He don't need to do the security checks.
Exactly. Just let him in. But honestly, now on a serious note, though, I think the 49ers going to win this division. I think after that, it's the Seahawks. After that, I think here's what's going to happen with the Rams. The Rams are going to – Sean McVay is going to put the Rams in a position where he's going to leave and Aaron Donald's going to leave too, and they're going to be in a spot where it's like we don't have the top – they're going to be in a weird spot. I feel like they're going to be in a weird spot where they're going to be bad, but they're not going to be bad enough to get the first, second, or third pick. But they're going to be like in the top 10, and they're not going to get anybody that they want of interest that they need that's an immediate fix. And then
they could be a wild card team. They could be, but because
no.
NFC is weak, that is weak.
I do honestly. I have more faith in like the Bucks. I have more faith in.
I take that back.
I have more faith in the Saints.
Well, hold on a second. You have more faith in the Bucks, and even though you're not a fan of Brian Leftwich and all the stress he's been giving you and all that.
Brian Leftwich has been fired.
Oh, I mean, whatever his name is, with his son that goes to Jesuit, whatever his space name is.
Todd Bowles?
Bowles. And he's still the head coach or no?
Yeah, Todd Bowles is still the head coach.
Yeah, I mean, you have more faith in Bowles than McVay.
Yes, right now, yes.
Fair enough, because that LA team is in a dump right now. The Buccaneers
has a win over Sean McVay.
has a what?
He has a win over Sean McVay.
All right, fair enough.
So yeah, honestly, I feel like this is a third place team that I feel like, despite everything, I think Cardinals are going to be bad this year. Still, that's my.
They'll give them a few wins though. They'll give them a few wins just to mess with people's bettings.
Yeah, maybe 2 or 3, maybe 4.
Yeah, some major wins just to mess up someone's parlay. That's for sure.
Yeah. So go ahead and drop yours.
Honestly, it's the same as yours. Niners 1, Seahawks 2, Rams at 3, Cardinals at 4. It could be very well Rams at 4, though. It could be if Sean McVay decides to give up, or the GM is like, all right, we're trading our pieces. We're trading our expiring contracts.
Man,
Good luck.
Deep down you want to put the Seahawks in Super Bowl 58.
You know what? I was there last year, actually. I was like, oh, they had a chance. And I'm like, okay, maybe let's slow down. Their run defenses suck, and every team knows about it. So until they get that run defense fixed, I'm not going to put them in that conversation. Even if they beat San Francisco, I will still not put them in the Super Bowl conversation. I need to see it. I'm not going to – it's not impossible for them to make it. I do think they do have better chances than some of these other – quote-unquote second-place teams and most other divisions. They do have a much better chance of making a Super Bowl. I'll give them that. But I'm not going to say that they're going to win the Super Bowl or anything like that or go to the Super Bowl.
Okay, that's fair.
But I'll say this. They have a much better shot at winning the Super Bowl than the Dolphins, or give me another second-place team and
another second-place team. Let's see. We could definitely say
better than the Chargers, that's for sure. I'll say that one.
Better than the Cowboys?
Are Cowboys the second place?
Yeah.
Well, actually, you know what? I'll pull out the big balls on this one and say yes. They have a better shot. I'll say this: the Seahawks are have been more consistent than the Cowboys. Let's
honestly,
let's keep it that way.
Realistically, in the division, in terms of talking about if they met in the divisional round, I do have more faith in the Seahawks over the Cowboys because the Cowboys can't get past the divisional round.
Exactly.
So you have a point. I would agree with that.
Unless the NFL really wants the Cowboys to go a little bit further than normal, which I think they'll still find a way to lose to the Seahawks. And besides, Cowboys don't even have a running back that's going to terrorize the Seahawks defense. Zeke ain't the same. You know that. I know that.
Zeke is gone.
Exactly. Who they got? Malik Davis? Malik Davis going to run over to the Seahawks? I don't think so.
Pollard.
Who?
They got Tony Pollard, who should have gotten paid.
Okay, maybe him, but you think Pollard is going to give the Seahawks defense nightmares?
Look, he can hurt you from a lot of different ways.
Okay, fair enough.
He can hurt you from a lot of ways.
But we're talking about divisional round. And you said it before, second round, funny things happen for the Cowboys. Funny things just happen.
That's true.
So,
yeah. So, folks, that's going to do it for us on this episode. We hope you've enjoyed so much. So, yeah, that's our predicted order of finish. We got 49ers, Seahawks, for me, at least.
Nah,
Cardinals.
It's more or less the same for me as well. Unless something crazy happens, it's going to be in that order. It's a top-heavy region for sure. I mean, top two teams are very potential to go to the Super Bowl. Other two teams are in the midst of a rebuild. It's as simple as that. And honestly, with these favorable scheduling for those Niners and Seahawks team, they'll be a lot better health rather than butting heads back and forth within with their own division. They're going to have much better records for both teams, perhaps.
True. Well, folks, that's going to do it for us. We hope you've enjoyed. Stay safe, stay blessed. We'll see you on the next video.